Good morning. A little different video today. When my son was here, I had a question for him once because we were talking about how crazy the world is, but I was curious to figure out what is the definition of crazy. So I asked my son if he met somebody who believed that memory was stored in water, and if that person believed that the water could have had its memory erased and that it would have significant impact on the use of the water, especially if it's for medical purposes, what would he think about that? And it was a fairly rhetorical question, you could say, because obviously he said, oh, that's going to be a fucking lunatic. And he was fairly impressed about my inventive story, but it's not inventive. And the crazy person is me. And it's just to show you the rabbit holes you can end up in if you are really digging yourself deep into the information of alternative treatments and supplements and what can support you if you don't want to go the official route. Right now, I'm distilling with my distiller here the water I pick up from a 60-meter deep well, 180 feet well that we have on our land. And I'm distilling it into this container. And once I've got enough, like I have about a liter here, then I am putting it on my magnetic stirrer to erase the memory of the water by creating a vortex. I have not been so deep into the rabbit hole I can give you the technical details. If you're curious about that, you have to research it yourself. But I can say, in overall, Andreas Kalka, which is the guy I am following advice from in terms of chlorine dioxide solutions, he has a mentioning in his book Forbidden Health about the memory of water. And I've seen other studies popping up here and then, probably because it's something I've been looking at, then Google provides me with information of it, who knows. But it seems, just from an overall perspective, that if water has been in contact with negative vibrations, then it stores that negativity in the water, and if you freeze the water right after that exposure, you will have a profile of the water that looks like some small black spikes or something. On the other hand, if you're exposing the water for some positive vibrations, whatever that is, then when you are freezing the water immediately after, you will have this beautiful crystalline snowflake kind of structure of it. Is it true? Honestly, I don't know. But it does not cost me anything to give it a shot and make the experiment, right? Since I've got the equipment already, I don't have to go out and invest it, and I got the magnetic stirrer here to delete the memory of the water, then why not? When I'm done with it, I'm storing it in these glass here. Some are transparent, some are not, in the refrigerator, and then I'm using it for my chlorine dioxide that I am using for irrigation. Is that what really works this month? I don't know, but I can tell you this, and we are midway, we are the 15th of February 2025. I've had 3 consecutive times where my PSA has dropped. It is minutely, it was 109, then 108, then 105, and then lately 109, 108, 103, and then 100. So I am very confident that next time will it not just be below 100, it will be significantly lower than 100. I cannot tell you exactly what does the trick, but I can tell you the changes I've made, and those are not the changes that makes me confident that it has dropped. I am confident it has dropped because that's how I feel, and it's by that feeling I'm now looking at the data to see what have I changed this month, what could have contributed to that. And one of the things that I've started for the first time is stinging nettle root. Can't remember the doses, make my own capsules, but I think it would probably be something like 1200 milligrams of stinging nettle root powder that I'm using. In addition to that, as I've mentioned in another video, I have started making hydrocarbon extraction of cannabis oil, and this is still a learning process. There's still a process going on, but I have started using that first batch which is a compromise to what I'm going to end up with, but that doesn't matter. It is light years better than my ethanol extraction that I had, and I'm using that now as a suppository, so I get 1 gram a day. And I've also started to adding 100 milligrams CBD orally every night before I go to sleep. And to my great satisfaction, then I do not see any negative impact on my heart rate variability. That's the funny thing. If you just take that little bit note. I remember when I did the initial research on these cannabinoids and whether it should be THC and CBD. As I said in the last video, I thought it should CBD initially. Then I found out Rick Simpson, he had been curing skin cancer with high levels of THC, very strong THC. So I went by that. You got somebody who had evidence of having used it with success, then you got to use that as well. But one of the things that had me puzzled, and I never really added those numbers together, was that every time I was on on THC oils, the impact on my body in terms of stress and lack of sleep quality and all that was the same as if I'd been drinking. And now lately I've been trying to experiment a little bit with the CBD, and it turns out that if anything, it just improves my heart rate variability. I can go running now, and while I normally after a good hard fast run will see my heart rate variability drop a little bit, then it seems not to be impacted if I am on CBD as well. So the idea that THC levels are the most important bit is definitely wrong. I can say that because as I've used to say to people who ask me whether this supplement is good or not, then the most important thing for your health is what you can do and you cannot pull off the shelves. It is stress levels, it is sleep patterns, it is sleep quality, it is the diet, it is the mental status, it's the mental attitude. It's all these things that you can adjust yourself. It doesn't cost any money. That's really where the game is won. Everything else is just a supplement. So I am supplementing with the CBD, but I can see that when you're doing the THC, you're compromising all those fundamental core values of good health. And that is just detrimental to what you want to do. Maybe they do inflict apoptosis and the cancer cells, I don't know. But I don't care really, because as I keep telling people, don't focus so much on what kills cancer, focus more on what gives you a strong health. And then let the body do what the body for millions of years has been able to do very well. And only if you have let your life slide so much with your bad habits that the body can't handle it anymore, then you might have to go and do some medical intervention just to aid a little bit on what the body's already doing very well, but probably can't handle it because you've been filling it with too many toxins. So anyway, deep rabbit holes, they do exist. They exist for me as well. I haven't gotten too dark into it, but I think it's an interesting thing. And there might be some truth to it. I mean, there's more between heaven and earth than we know. So since it doesn't cost me any extra money, since it doesn't cost me much extra time, I might just as well give it a shot. Erasing memory. Until next time, stay healthy and happy.